So I think we have critical mass. I'd like to get started, be respectful and mindful of everybody's time. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order at 11:37 a.m. I do expect Trish Christensen to walk in the room shortly. But before she does, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. I guess I should back up a moment and welcome all of you to the first Government Relations Council meeting, or GRC meeting for 2024. Happy New Year, everyone. Last year, I guess we put a close on the 2023, which ended, I think, very well for us. We had lots and lots of great speakers. I think we heard from every newly elected official locally here that serves either the city of Modesto or Stanislaus County, which was fantastic. That includes everybody from city council, the county supervisors, newly elected assembly members, Senate and Congress. So it was a great year coming out of COVID to get folks back together in the room and get back to people and enjoy food and beverage together. So thank you to all the speakers from last year. Thank you to all the lunch sponsors. We are working to fill this year's calendar. I think we are full through the month of March. So April on is open and available. That's not only for lunch speakers, but also for lunch sponsors. Today's lunch was provided to us by Stanislaus County. So thank you, Donna, and thank you to the county. I think it's Jack's Pizza, not really familiar, here local.
So we're by Safeway.
Awesome. So mom and pop, not a big corporate pizza company. So I appreciate you going out of your way to order from someone here locally. Why don't we allow Trish to give us a quick update before we move into introductions and make our way through the consent agenda, because she's got to run.
Thank you. So good afternoon, happy Friday, everyone. Excuse my ultra casual attire. I'm getting on a bus in less than an hour. I am part of the 40th class of Leadership Modesto. So today we offer our retreat. I wanted to take a moment to also echo Michael. We appreciate so much the support that we have from our elected officials and our partners and the representatives this past year. They're a fun group and we all really get along well, and we're there to support one another. So I appreciate you guys always being so present with us. I have to at least stop and say next Thursday, so a week from last night, is our soiree, and we're still selling tickets. Some sponsorship availability is still open. But would really love to see everyone just come and join us. And we are just finished informing the award winners privately who's going to get the awards. We promoted the voting for our nominees and a really good list. So we're feeling really good about the effort there. And happy to share, and Trevor's in the room, so we'll appreciate hearing this as well. The Shop Greater Modesto Marketplace. We've been open right out a month right now, and we have onboarded 7 businesses. So we're rocking it in our estimating how quick we can offer that. So yeah, economic and tax basis questions for that. Your guide. Anything else? Stephen's our point person on that. And Liz, thank you too for running this for us today. And have a great meeting. Sorry on this presentation, but nice to see you. All right. Have a good weekend, you guys.
Safe travels. Enjoy yourself. Be careful. Okay, so why don't we move into introductions. There's a roll sheet that was going around. I think it's made its way around. I want to see if everybody's had a chance to sign it. If you have not, please do. It's for our roll call and our meeting minutes. So starting with myself, I guess, Michael Gaffney, chairman of the GRC again this year, day job PG.
Stephen Shaw, I'm the business support coordinator for the Modesto Chamber of Commerce.
Liz Roach, I'm the membership coordinator at the chamber.
John Beckman, Building Industry Association.
Thank you.
Abby Pendleton, I'm with the Assemblyman 1L Lisa's office.
Kristan Santos, field representative, Congressman Tommy. Patrick Shields, field representative for chairman, supervisor.
Justin Suarez, for
Todd Aronson, that's Denver.
Donna Linder, Stanislaus County Clerk Recorder, Registrar of Voters.
Stephen Hall, League of California Cities, the board member.
Chamber board member and operating manager for being from the talent. Kirsty Boyette Zacharias, chairman of the chamber board.
Trevin Barker, City of Modesto.
Folks on the line, start with John Lines.
Hi, John Valines, Modesto Gospel Mission. I am a board member and chair of the Economic Development Committee.
Thank you, John. Yami, I saw you come off mute.
Yes, hi, Yamilet Valladolid. I'm the Director of Government and Community Affairs for Golden Valley Health Centers. Happy to be here.
Welcome. Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Orgel with NorCal NECA.
Diana?
Morning, Diana Ruiz Del Rey, City of Modesto, Communications and Media Relations.
Right on.
I
Oh, was there somebody else? Okay, somebody may not be on it. Okay, so consent agenda, if somebody's had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes from December, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve them. So moved. Thank you, Todd. Second?
Second.
Kirsten, thank you. All in favor, aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries as is. I appreciate that very much. We will move into report out, starting with the City of Modesto.
I don't have anything, Trevin. I know you're there. I don't know if you have something to share.
Yeah, as you all know, the city's been trying to support Shop Modesto as much as possible. We've got some other initiatives. The city council approved the economic development strategic plan consultant, so we're starting to build out our calendar. We touch base with all of you in this room individually for just a brief question and answer on how do you like to see the future of Modesto for economic development purposes.
Say that again. That was the
Economic development strategic plan.
strategic plan. Okay.
Yeah. 5 years.
5 year. Do you know the name of the firm off the top of your head or no?
Nettles and Dale.
Oh. Okay. Any questions for the City of Modesto? I will say, we can cover this later, that our city manager, Joe Lopez, is scheduled to come in next month in person to give us an update on, I believe it was sales tax measure.
H.
And how that is being spent. So look forward to having him. Stanislaus County.
So Sonia couldn't make it today. She just got back from a well-deserved vacation. She's still catching up on meetings, so she's pretty booked today. But a little update: the board had the election of the chairman. Supervisor Braywall was elected chairman. Supervisor Buckconnett was elected vice chair. So looking forward to an exciting year at the county. I'm sure Sonia will have more updates for you guys next month on some of the other issues and things going on. But she asked that I just let you guys know that she's sorry she couldn't make it. She'll make sure to be here as well.
Excellent. And the Stanislaus County CEO, Jody Hayes, is scheduled to come in March in person to speak with us. And that topic, I believe, is still TBD. But he's open to suggestions as well. So let me know. Assemblyman Juan Elis's office.
Yeah, just real quick, we got our committee appointments for the year since we just started session on January 3rd. Once again, Juan will be serving as vice chair of public safety. We also got appointed vice chair of agriculture. So we know that's a pretty big deal for Stanislaus County in particular. We were also appointed to labor and employment, business and professions, water, parks and wildlife, and then military and veterans affairs. And we're starting to put together advisory groups. So we're looking for people in these specific categories. So retailers, insurance, agriculture, and veterans. So if you guys know anyone or are interested in participating in these groups, please reach out to our office and we would love to have you involved in these discussions. So thank you.
Very good. Any questions for Abby? Senator Maria Alvarado Gill's office.
All right, so just as someone member, Melanie, Senator, is also left in session. And she proposed a new bill, SB 945, which focuses on wildfire in her district, which is very huge. So we actually are moving around our communications to the district to be more focused on legislation, since we saw that this was very much needed from our constituents. So hopefully you'll be seeing more of her legislation and actual capital that she is doing in the next few months. She's been in the district almost all week this yeah, this week, and she will actually be here tonight too, because your community center event. Next Thursday, she will be presenting the cervical cancer resolution to make January Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. It's really exciting. She's a survivor of cervical cancer, so it's very important to her that she gets the information out to her constituents on how to prevent it or take proper treatments. And then we're going to be promoting nominations for Woman of the Year from the district, and we will be sending multiple emails, outreach, and I will hopefully at the next meeting in February for the deadline, I'll bring some flyers. So anybody can nominate a Woman of the Year for us to represent at the state level. And then last but not least, we are also putting out an annual report. We worked on it for a few months, and this will just go through all her events, all her statistics, everything and anything from last year, and hopefully have that up very soon. And that's the end of it.
Destiny, right?
Yeah.
Can you remind me the number of the Senate bill? SB,
SB 945.
thank you. Any questions for Destiny? Didn't see anybody from Congressman McClintock's office. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone from Duarte's office? Yep. Gavin? Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Oh, good. And Chris Santos here from Congressman John Duarte. Going to be doing another year on the Agriculture Committee, the Natural Resources Committee, excuse me, and the Transportation Infrastructure Committee. Shortly before the end of last year's legislative session, Congressman Duarte actually introduced a couple of bills, including HR 6548. That's the Professional Growth and Retention Act. This applies to employer-facilitated training programs for incumbent workforce, such as classroom instruction, laboratory training, or virtual instruction models that equip existing employees with the necessary skills to maintain or improve their employment. This important piece of legislation would double the allocation for incumbent worker training for local workforce boards, which are currently limited to only using up to 20% of their adult and dislocated worker allocation funds for incumbent worker training. Would double it to 40% with an additional boost to 50% for areas experiencing unemployment rates at or below 3%, and thus have a smaller workforce pool to work with. It's a forward-looking approach to workforce development. We do feel that this would have a proportionally large impact on the workforce enrollment. Congressman Duarte has been one of the most bipartisan members in the conference when it comes to fixing our information system with bills pertaining to Farm Workforce Modernization Act, that's H2 visas, and also DREAM Act, American Dream and Promise Act. But he's also co-leading a bipartisan bill to improve border security, that's HR 6391, the integrating new technologies to empower law enforcement at our borders, otherwise known as the Intel at our Borders Act. That's a bipartisan bill with Democratic Congresswoman Melissa Slotkin of Michigan. It would require the Department of Homeland Security to create a comprehensive strategy that places outdated technology at the southern border, evaluates the effectiveness of existing security measures, and explores the opportunities for implementation of new technologies into DHS to secure our border. There are a record 2.5 million encounters at the southern border this year, and only 19,000 agents responsible for 6,000 miles of northern and southern borders. So we felt this is a very important bill to help combat fentanyl coming into the Central Valley and cartel-based crime in our region as well. There's also, as you know, there was a deadline coming up for the budget for a federal government for the partial shutdown, and Congressman Duarte released a statement. He did vote in favor of the continuing resolution yesterday afternoon. And this is his statement. Since entering Congress, I voted for every continuing resolution. Keep the government open and working for families in my district. We have to make better spending decisions to ensure we don't benefit the country's future. This was the best option available to us in this moment. I remain hopeful that the budget for the 2024 fiscal year will include common sense decisions and government spending to cut inflation and revive our economy. That bill did pass with bipartisan.
Any questions for Kristan? I appreciate the update, and I apologize for helping you happen. There's no questions. We'll move into let's see, utility updates. I don't see AT&T. Do you have a question?
Can I report out?
Yeah.
Modesto.
Yeah, let's move in through utilities and lead California cities, and then I'll open it up to the floor. So I don't see AT&T, Comcast, MID, PG&E, not to throw them to the wolves, but I am very proud and honored to report that Eric Alvarez has accepted Council Member Eric Alvarez has accepted a position with PG&E as our local government affairs representative. He will be representing Stockton Division, which includes Stockton, Calaveras, Amador, and Alpine counties. So John, he's going to be your man.
Yeah, send me his contact information.
I'm sorry.
Send me.
Yeah, Steven, I'm sure you're gonna be anxious to speak with him. But we're lucky to have him. He has a very deep and extensive knowledge in politics and local government and understands the utility industry quite well. So he accepted the position about 2 weeks ago, and he's gone through new employer orientation, and he's making the rounds, getting his feet wet, and going on some meet and greets and on.
Is he staying on a city council member?
Yes, he is, through the end of his term. Yeah, and then I don't know what the future holds for him in the political arena, but that'll be up to him and the company to negotiate. So, hope to see him here next month. Stephen, League of California Cities, and we can pull up your sheet here. Oh,
Great. Thanks, Steve. So I hope all of you are aware of the advanced clean fleet regulations that carbon has adopted, and was adopted last April. And with this, the goal is to achieve zero emission trucks and bus fleet by 2045. Again, it's talking about how it affects utilities and their trucks, and the availability of the vehicles is out there. There's no infrastructure for them, but they're going to have to start implementing January 1st. All new acquisitions must be EV, and it could be zero emissions. The problem with that is, like I said, there aren't any out there, but this is an acquisition program, not replacement program, which means it involves purchasing new vehicles. Has nothing to do with the internal combustion, except that those all have to be replaced by 2045. The CARB had applied to EPA for a waiver because the regulations at the state level are much more stringent than on the federal level, but they did not apply for that waiver until November, and so it has not been granted yet. So what instead they're going to be doing, they're going to be focusing on local governments and their fleets, and they're going to be hybrid fleets on this to make sure that they follow the rules that they are compliant. We understand EPA isn't in no hurry to institute the waivers. So unfortunately, the problem is you got to realize this is going to cost cities and counties and a lot of money to do it. There's one bill, AB 637, which would carve out a exemption for certain cities, and it would be it's authored by Enterprise Rental Services, and if they rent their heavy duty trucks from Enterprise, instead of having actually to acquire them, then they would be exempt from the regulations. Obviously, we all know about retail theft. Part thanks to some of the Alanis. Last year, the Assembly Public Safety Committee asked the Recorder Institute to do a study on the effects of Prop 47, and so this year they'll be hearing the little bit Recorder Institute will be hearing. They held one hearing in Sacramento, will be two more, one in San Francisco, one in LA. They're also this Assembly Public Safety Committee. Sorry, we'll hear a number of bills this year. There's a lot of questions about the $950 threshold, which constitutes a felony. It used to be $400. There's a lot of other states that have the same or actually higher thresholds. Texas, for instance, has a threshold of $2,500. Alabama is $1,500, and Mississippi is $1,000. We're actually 10th lowest of all the amounts that constitute a felony. So there's a new chair of the Public Safety Committee, who governs the Public Safety Committee. So it's really dependent upon how the chair, if he gets behind certain bills. The last hearing, there was a lot of public comments about keeping Prop 47 intact and looking at security programs instead. There's a lot of pressure coming from police chiefs, the Retailers and Grocers Association to make amendments to Prop 47. Some say that the Prop 47 has to go back to the voters because it was approved by the voters. We're also looking at auto and property and cargo theft, which is happening on TV, Amazon, FedEx, and things like There is some action possibly by the governor in the budget. We'll see when that ends up. And then also in the governor's office, the current point person on Prop 47 left, and the new person is somebody who works with Governor Brown on Prop 47. And so hopefully we'll be able to work with them to make some kind of problems. Fentanyl, the governor is signaling he's looking at backing off some legislation. We don't have any information on that yet, but again, it'll be part of the budget. Autonomous vehicles, we've got a number and AI, we've got a number of bills that have been introduced on both. Some of them would allow local jurisdictions to regulate the vehicles in their jurisdictions and also have first responders the ability to disable the saw with gas was happening in San Francisco with the blocking traffic and also the some of the other people that actually ran into the city. There's a bill AB 635 that allows for 5 years for cities of Los Angeles, San Jose, Oakland, Long Beach, and City of San Francisco to use cameras to issue tickets because California is the only state in the union that does not allow issuing of moving violations to California Business Roundtable brought this to attention before. This is the ballot measure that qualifies for the federal ballot that make it much harder for cities and counties to keep the revenues they have and establish new revenues. This is the legislature and the governor passed the California Supreme Court to hear arguments on it. They are going to pull it off the ballot in March. We hope to have a decision by. I'm sorry. Yeah, they asked for it to be pulled off the ballot. So they're going to hear it in March. We hope to have a decision by June. And then we don't have to do law.
It's up to you. We have time. I mean, we're flying through this.
This is my fun part. Law or lie. Sometimes my reports become impossible. Law or lie. Prostitutes in San Francisco are not obliged to make change for bills larger than $50.
Law.
And you know that.
Don't tell you.
You answer that awful quickly.
I already read them. I didn't Google them
Oh,
though.
that's it. Hey, you were the last.
Just based on who's ran that.
You can't answer them. Okay. In Monterey, it's illegal to fish for octopus in a Speedo or a thong. That's what you a thong bikini. Sorry. Bikini. It can be a thing bikini, okay? Is that law or is that a lie?
Lie.
A lie. Okay, last but not least, in the city of San Diego, it's illegal to yell "ahoy, baby" from any boat weighing under 20 tons.
Lie.
It's a lie.
Right on. Thank you for sharing those. Always put a smile on my face. All right. Any questions for Stephen? Todd, you wanted to say a few words, right?
Yeah, the busiest tourist season of the year is upon us in just a few weeks, almond blossom season. The almond blossom cruise this year, we've added motor coaches for tours on Saturdays, beginning the 17th February for 4 weekends. We are making that available to seniors at a special discount here in Modesto. We also have plein air painting classes in the orchards this year. And we have had incredible press on it nationally, really focused on Modesto, even internationally. So not just a farm magazine rated us the #1 thing to do over St. Bart's for the first quarter of this year, but Travel and Leisure ran a feature on Modesto and the Almond Blossom Cruise. And then in the next week, there'll be another article in the New York Times and Better Homes and Gardens featuring Modesto and the Almond Blossom Cruise. So if you're not doing it, go out and do it, almondblossomcruise.com. We have this bounty in our backyard we don't always take advantage of. So we're looking, tell your friends, bring friends, invite friends. Have them stay in local hotels too.
Awesome. Is Trish promoting that? Have you seen any collateral? Have you sent anything over
The
to?
collateral is at the printer right now, but we've been sending out emails. We get them regularly. I haven't seen anything come back on.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, if you wanted to share something we can post for sure as well. We'll take it, post it.
I just thought for all of you and your businesses and government, especially in Washington, D.C., the congressman might want to share. Now I'll give you my card if you want. I'll send all those article links so we can run it.
Get the chair.
Yeah.
Losses for 2 weeks straight, so.
Yeah, that's the whole idea.
Cool. Thank you for that update. Is there anything else anybody would like to share before we move into our guest presenters? Okay, we're tracking time good. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our one and only clerk recorder, Donna Linder. I don't think she needs too much more of a introduction than that. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for visiting us in the past. I know I can always count on you to come in and give us healthy updates on, I guess this year we're talking about maybe some newly laws that have went into effect since the first of the year, and then also the upcoming local election season. So the floor is yours. I don't know if you have a presentation.
It's on there and then.
Oh, yes. She can drive, we can go into presentation mode and blow this thing up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for having me. I am gonna give you some updates on the clerk recorder side because sometimes it gets lost in the election world. And then updates on you know, kind of what they're doing over there. The life cycle of the ballot, I always like to get that out because there's always new people every time I get a presentation. What is Canvas, all the security features we've put into elections, a couple of the new laws, not everything, it's a page and a half. But you know, the things that really affect the public, and then opportunities to be involved. You know, maybe you have family members that just want to be involved in election. And then I have a little thing about why it's so important to vote in your local government. So on the clerk recorder side, there wasn't a lot of laws this year. But one, we have a transfer on death deed that you can file, and it once you, if you pass away, your family files your death certificate and the house is theirs. They've upped that to say that you can transfer interest into stock cooperatives, can't speak, instead of just the actual property into your name. We also have a lot of hype on the covenants and restrictions in our properties, and there's plenty in Stanislaus County. Historically saying that certain races or religions couldn't live in neighborhoods. We're going through our documents. We have to redact that, record the document over the old one, so your history stays, but your document has that information taken off. A owner can come in and say, hey, I noticed this on my document, it's on my deed, can you take it off? We have to send it to county council for them to say, yes, this needs to be removed. Once that's done, this new law says that we have to contact the owner. Historically, we just took care of it. Now we have to tell the owner that we're going to be doing that, and then they have to tell anybody who has interest in the property that's happening. So just a little more work. This is kind of my soapbox. AB 394 was in last year's bills. It did not pass. It failed, and what it was for is the Housing Building and Homes Job Act, which was SB 2 a few years ago. They wanted it to require that department to provide updates to our legislators, and it failed. When housing market is good, Stanislaus County sends $1 million a quarter to the Building Homes and Jobs Act. We don't know where the money's going. So that would have been a good bill to pass so we could see what's happening. So in our office, we have been working since I took office to upgrade our system. Our old system was from 1993. We finally got it upgraded, and with that, we moved to electronic reporting. So if you mailed a document to us to be reported, which happens a lot, it could take up to a week to get here. So we track those. When they came over the counter, they did an average of 49 documents an hour, and they could only be reported at 8 a.m. or between 12 and 1. So your title companies would be, popping into our office with all these documents trying to get them reported. Now, we do electronic reporting. No mail time comes in that day, all day long. This needs to get updated because January 1st, we went from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So documents just come in all day long. They can do an average of 122 documents an hour. And this is still new, so they're still getting used to it. So we'll be, getting documents done. This means that if you are buying a house, you can get your keys faster. So what was happening before is we stopped taking over the counter between 12 and 1, and some things are financed at 2 o'clock and they had to wait till the next day. So now, if you are at the last minute getting the money in to pay for that house, you can get your keys still that day. We do weddings in our office now. We did Halloween weddings for the first time. We only have a few, but something we're starting. We are still preparing for marriage at the mansion. We rent a McHenry mansion, and we do weddings for the same price as if you came to our office and then get married in the mansion. So it's on a Wednesday, so it's not real big right now. We're planning a passport day in March with the county libraries and the law library. We're all going to be open one Saturday in March for walk-ins to do passports. If you try to get a passport in Stanislaus County, it's weeks before you can make a highway with any of us. So it's kind of a way to help people out.
I will say, if I can comment on that my family got passports. It was probably 2 years ago, maybe even 3. It was at the tail end of COVID, and we went to the county library downtown, and it was extremely simple at the passport counter. The gentleman behind there took us on time. He had everything filled out for us. He clipped the pictures, assembled the package, and it was all filled out already. All we had to do was put postage on it and send it out. It was amazing. And I've told so many people that, and they've come back to me saying they did it, and it's awesome. So
we do them too.
well, I don't know if you're not involved with the county library.
So our office also does passports. I did get mine in the library too, because I did it at my office. But yeah, and they were good. The library has more locations that you can go to, and they do Saturdays. But we're there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. So if you need a passport, you can go to any of those locations. I mentioned AB 1466. That's where we have to redact the covenants and restrictions. We just finished negotiating our contract, and so the research is starting. We have to do all the documents from 1854 to current. So it's a project. If you haven't been to our office recently, you come in and you go to a kiosk and you fill out your application. That way it's so much easier. They're not trying to read handwriting. You can fill it out at home. You go to this online services and you fill out your form. When you come in, you just check in, and it's a lot faster. Okay, elections, which is what everybody likes to hear about. This year is a presidential primary. So in California, presidential primaries are March, state primaries are in June. Keep you on your toes. So our election is in March. Presidential primaries mean you have to vote your party. California passed a law that everybody's on the same ballot for us. So your Congress, Senate, Assembly, since you're here, all go on the same ballot no matter what their party is. But federal law says for the president, you vote your party. So in California, the parties decide who gets to do crossover if you are registered as a no party preference voter or with a party that isn't on there. We have parties that are, they're all kinds of different names. But anyway, so the parties that have decided if you are no party preference, you can just walk in and say, no, I want this ballot. Are American Independent, Democrat, and Libertarian. So this card went out to our voters that are no party preference, and they can mark that and you can mail them a ballot, or you can go to a vote center and they'll just give you one. If you would like to vote for the Green Party, Peace and Freedom, or Republican, we need to re-register. So you can re-register up until February 20th and still receive that ballot in the mail, or you can go in person all the way up to election day. So California is all mail. So we mail all of our ballots. They will be mailing February 5th. So your ballots are coming in less than a month. You have options to get those back to us. You can mail them. There's no postage necessary. You can take them to one of our drop boxes, which we put in several different locations.
we're required like 18 or 28. So in some of our locations, we'll have 2 boxes now because they just fill up so fast. So you can find those, either you'll get a new flyer that has all the different locations, or you can go to our website, stanvote.com. It's interactive with the address you're at. It will tell you what's in your area and what the hours are. You can also go to a vote center and drop off your ballot. They, some of them will open February 24th, and the rest will open March 2nd. Vote centers, you can vote in person. You can either give them your vote by mail ballot, or they'll check, make sure you didn't vote, and they'll give you a ballot. You vote in person and you can scan it right there. You can drop off your ballot. You can get it replaced because you lost it and still vote by mail. There's accessibility machines. We have language assistance. Our languages in Stanislaus County are Punjabi, Khmer, and Assyrian, and Spanish. And you can register, update your registration. And I mentioned that the dates that's on open. So what do we do once we get all these vote by mail ballots? Well, first thing is we first scan them, then we check your signature. So every single ballot that we receive, the signature has to be double checked. It's checked against your registration. So if you registered at DMV, it may not pass the first time. We may have to go back and look at your older registrations, because when you sign on paper versus when you sign on that little, whatever it's called, it doesn't always match. So if that's your only registration, you may get something in the mail saying, hey, was this you? You really can't tell. The signature doesn't match, something like that. Once their signature verified and the signature matches, then they go to be opened. We sort them by ballot type for this election because there's too many precincts, but we do that for our own good, because during the presidential in 2020, and I just looked it up, we got a little over 217,000 ballots, and Waterford had a measure that lost by like 4 votes. So of course they want to speak now, and they had 3 boxes of ballots. One was only half full. If we hadn't sorted, we would have had to look through all 217,000 ballots to find those 3 boxes to do that recount. So we saved them money, we saved us time, and could do the recount much faster. So we sort to protect ourselves in case there's a recount. Once they're sorted, they're opened on a machine that cuts the tops and the side and then pulls it open. It covers up your name and address, so we don't know who you are. Voting is private, so we can't know who you are with your ballot next to it. Once they're open, they have to be flat. I want to volunteer for flattening. I just throw this out. It's our biggest job. And people are like, flattening's your biggest job. Well, remember, I just told you over 217,000 in 2020. They were 4 cards. So 217,000 times 4 is how many pieces of paper had to be made flat. And the little stubs at the top have to be taken off. So when you send your vote by mail ballot in, keep those, because we have to rip them off if you did not. They won't count correctly with those on. Once they are flat, then they go in their scan. If you ever want to know what we're doing in the count room, you can come to the office. We have dual monitors, so you can see exactly what they see while they're scanning those ballots in, and you can see them from our lobby. So, because when we put them in the count room, you know, the idea is that people know what you're doing. And I'm standing there looking at them going, how does anybody know what we're doing? So we put the dual monitors in so that people can tell what's happening. The next thing that happens is adjudication. So you mark your ballot for a measure and you say yes. And your friend Sally is the smartest person in Stanislaus County. She comes over and she says, oh, you know, when you read that, it's kind of backwards. You should have said no. So you haven't mailed it. So you cross out yes and you mark no. Our machine doesn't know. It says, oh, voted, you know, it's supposed to be 1, voted for 2. So it puts it in a little bucket. So then staff come and they look at it and we can say voter intent, obviously, they wanted no. People have all kinds of ways of telling us, but we can figure it out. It's always 2 people. And the point of that is we want two people to decide that that's actually what the voter wanted, not just one person deciding how people voted. And so they do that for write-ins. Are they certified write-in? They do that for overvotes. That's what it's called when you did 2. Undervotes we also look at. That's not required. I think we're the only county that does it because our vendors think it's crazy. But if the mark is too light and the machine didn't catch it, I want to make sure every vote's counted. So if the machine says it's an undervote, we double check it. So those are the things that we're doing in adjudication. So Canvas, I get a lot of people, why does it take 30 days? It really takes us about 2 weeks. But what we're doing is we do a partial hand count. We, after all those batches that have been ran through those machines, we go in and randomly draw them, and we actually sit there and hand count them and compare them to what the machine says so that we know that everything is accurate in our election. We do duplication. If you are in the military or overseas, your ballot already went to you. It's not on ballot paper, it's just a piece of paper. So those have to be duplicated onto ballot paper. If you do a remote accessible vote by mail, those are still on paper too. You're voting and printing it at home and sending to us. So that has to be transferred. This ballot came from the post office, and another machine was angry that day. And so of course the ballots ripped, it can't go through the machine. So it has to be duplicated. We finish doing our vote by mail. So in Stanislaus County, we get about half of our vote by mail ballots on election day. So when you see our numbers come out, you know, you're probably going to get almost double that once we start counting the ballots that come on election day. And then we also have to wait 7 days for mail. So the day after the election, we get another huge amount. And then they do trickle in, sometimes all the way to the 7th day. They have to be postmarked on election day. And I remind everyone, if you are going to drop your ballot off on election day, make sure there's still a pickup. Because we get a lot of ballots a few days later, and they're postmarked the day after the election. You cannot count those. So please make sure that you still have a pickup. We audit everything. So if you're a vote center, and I'll do simple math, I sent you 100 pieces of paper, you printed 50 ballots, we're going to count those pieces of paper when they come back, and there needs to be 50. So we do that with everything we've sent to vote centers. Everything is double checked. And then if you did go to a vote center and you registered to vote after February 20th, we call it conditional voter registration. It's in the system, but we're going to double check and make sure you didn't vote in another county first. So those have to all be double checked. Election security. So I get a lot of people that tell me it's not secure. Well, this is how we used to collect our ballots in this brown paper box. Now, there is, if you're indoor, it's in this box. And you can see all these boxes. Only my staff have the keys to those. And it's sealed until they get there and they unseal it. When they pick up from these boxes, there's a bag inside. They pull it out. They secure it. They lock it shut with a seal. They bring it to the office, we open the seal. So we have 2 people always out picking up those ballots, but they don't even touch them. So until they get to the office. Every one of our boxes has to be secured either to the wall or secured to something that won't. A lot of the city clerks, it's a banister or something. So again, this is our indoor box. This is our outdoor box. It's about 600 pounds all by itself. And then it's bolted into the cement. All of our outdoor boxes also have security cameras that are on them 24/7. That is not a requirement by law, but I want to make sure that our boxes are safe. So we even we're putting one at Stan State, they have put in a camera. We have one at the library and Salida, we put in a camera. Now there's one in Crow's Landing at a school and they put in a camera. So they've all been very gracious to do this for us. Everything goes to a vote center securely. This used to be, the supplies went in this box to the vote center. Then they set it out or to the poll. You put your ballots in and they took the ballots out and put them in the bag and put the supplies back in. Well, now everything goes in one of these 2 cages and they're locked shut and they're tethered to something in the building that won't. So if you come to our office, also when the vote centers are open, during the day you can go in and scan your ballot. At night, those scanners are locked up, sealed, and put in those cages. So anything that could affect the election is locked into a cage every night, brought out every morning. So in our office, we are lucky enough to be the old B of A building, so we have a bank vault. So if a ballot is not being worked on or looked at, it's in the bank vault. If it is, it's out in the open. We have an open area where ballots are. We actually have to use both floors that we are in at this building because we just don't have quite enough room. But they're always either in the bank vault or where people can see them. We have to have 2 people always with ballots. That way, you know, you're just accountable. If you are going to go into the vault, no black or blue pens are allowed. You always have to have somebody with you. Ballots are not worked on at desks or cubicles of any kind, always in the open. Let's see, election law. AB 63 tells us that we have to report at least once a week. And with that, we have to say how many outstanding ballots there are until there's no new ballots to receive and the date and time of the next update. Well, we update every Tuesday and Thursday. I started that a long time ago. People want to know what's happening. So every Tuesday and Thursday, we give an update. We don't usually tell how many ballots are outstanding. I'm trying to find a way to explain this because with the accepting mail up till 7 days and accepting what's called ballot cures. So those are the things we sent out and said, here's the shoe because this doesn't match. The number changes. And so how do you explain to people, well, it changed because now these ones that were challenged can be counted. They were here, but they weren't able to count. So we're trying to figure out how to word that so the public understands that we just didn't find ballots in the air and put them in. AB 398, if you need a replacement ballot, a long time ago, the law said you could call, give us enough information that we knew it was you, mail you a ballot. They changed that, so you had to come in and sign something. Now they changed it back so you can call, give us enough information. As long as we tell you it's against the law, it's spelled. Very nice for our public. AB 454 adds what we have to send to a vote center. So we have to make sure that there are guides for people's signatures, magnifying glasses, and several other things to help our voters. On this bill also was, they wanted a way for accessibility equipment to be able to be taken to a car for curbside voting. That was taken off the law, but the people who put this law in place really want that on there. So we foresee that's coming back. So we created a cart that you might see in a couple of our vote centers. It has the equipment in the vote center, but it can be rolled out to the curbside for the voter to use. And then that way we saved money and didn't have to buy all the equipment for that. AB 969, County Board of Supervisors cannot cancel our voting equipment unless they have another system in place. And a hand count can't be done unless it's under 1,000 voters in the district. That was because of Shasta. Senate Bill 77, if a voter is sent a signature cure, right now it's a piece of paper. If you belong to ballot tracks, it's going to tell you your ballot's challenged. You can look on our website. But this bill says we have to have other ways of informing you. So you might get a phone call, a text, an email, something like that. Tell you, hey, it didn't match. We're sending you something. SB 485. It's a crime to interfere with the election, either by doing something to the people, doing something to the equipment, just being in the way, talking people into how to vote. But you had to define what an election official is because currently or historically it was myself and my actual staff. We only have 12 staff. We hire 200 people to help with an election. So those people are now covered. It's the times we're living. So we do have part-time seasonal positions. If you know anybody who wants a part-time job and just wants some fun money, those are there. If you want to volunteer, we have increased our stipend to $150 a day. And It's more for election day. That's not on. So you bring people, you help with accessibility equipment and things like that. So if you have a desire to become a volunteer, and train next week, come and tell us.
How many hours would you involved? Are the different things on what you do?
Well, it kind of depends on your availability. You can tell us when you're available. We really like you to be available Tuesday in March.
I see. $50 a day, I mean, is it like an average?
It's all day. It's all day.
8 hours.
It used to be $95, so hey, we think we're doing great. And it's 2 something for election, because election day is really long. You have to be there like 6 in the morning. You don't get out of there till 9 or 10 at night. So we have increased that. A lot of people say, why should I vote? If I'm voting for something that's statewide and Stanislaus County likes this, LA likes something different, who cares? Well, in Stanislaus County, in any county, you have representatives that represent you specifically. They're right here, your Congress, your Senate, your Assembly. Those people are specifically to our area. So this is a school board race. This person won by 1 vote. This person was the incumbent. And they said, I'll accept no matter what happens, even if it's by 1 vote. His wife said, why did you say that? Look what happened. He lost by 1 vote. We can't count stuff that's super close like that, so we double check it. 1 vote. So 1 vote decided who was on that school board. Even worse, in Oakdale, they had a school board election and it was a tie. It was part of Stanislaus County and part of San Joaquin County. So every time ballots would come in, I'd be like, you know, because 7 days, okay, there's 3 of them. It'll change it, right? Oh no, San Joaquin's getting ballots too. It was a tie. You know, when stuff like this is going on, we get excited too. It's fun. So every time we got a ballot here, we were like, woohoo! And it ended in a tie. So if your election is a tie, it goes to the district. They have to decide what to do. They can flip a coin. So literally, somebody picks a quarter. They have to inspect it. They decide who's heads, who's tails, and they flip the coin. So your person is decided by a flip of a coin. Well, Oakdale decided you can also draw cards. So they decided to draw cards. And I really wish I would have gone to the board meeting, because when they drew the cards, they drew the same card.
Oh.
So it had to be decided by what suit card. So think about that. This person who's going to represent your kids and make decisions for how that school is run was decided by drawing the card and the suit on the card. There is a story of in Wyoming, their congressman was decided by pulling the name out of a hat. So please go vote, because I don't want my congressman to be decided by pulling the name out of a hat, flipping a coin, or drawing a card. So every position that you elect in this county is so important, and we really want you to vote. And so get out there and make sure that they're not one apart or a tie.
Any questions? That was an awesome way to end the presentation, by the way. Super cool. Anybody have any questions for Donna?
So Donna, I live in San Joaquin County, and we infamously had a city council member who cast 60 votes for himself. And it was done through the registration process. Every vote he signed the registration card, and he signed the ballot. What are you doing here locally to make sure that something like that doesn't happen?
Because there were so many things that same, they picked up on that. We watch for that kind of thing. I'm not gonna say we've never had any problems in Stanislaus County. We had a restaurant that happened. We caught it before they were counted. So, and then we turned that into the Secretary of State and the District Prosecution, which is what's happening with him.
Good question.
I heard that. Nobody. So they don't this, so you can print your ballot.
Kind of. So it's called remote accessible vote by mail.
It's newer. It used to only be for the military or our disabled voters, but during 2020, it was, extended, and then now it's for everyone. You have to go through a portal on our website. You have to be a registered voter. It won't let you in. And then, yes, it will bring up your ballot and you can vote it, and then you print it. You can either use the envelope we sent you, or you can do an origami envelope where you put it together and you stick it in there. You still have to sign it, and then you mail it to our office. So everyone asks, well, what if I mail 2 or 3? Well, we are gonna check your signature, the first one that comes in, and then our system tells us we already got one. It has to be duplicated, so we'll be duplicating it. That's a 4-person process, where 1 person calls, 1 person marks, 2 people are watching to make sure that they're doing what's on the ballot. If you sent in another one, you already voted. If you put more than 1 ballot in an envelope, we can't count any of them. So, so there's all those checks and balances in the ballot system.
But first we're talking process signature.
So I wasn't gonna ask this, but that conversation you made talking this, how do you know if it's from the voter or someone's committing voter fraud and voting on someone else's behalf in that situation?
So our line of protection is your signature. And so I have 2 stories to tell you how picky my staff is. One, a mom got the ballot, her son was called, and I know this because I speak at Rotaries, and one of the Rotarians tells the story. And so the son said, yeah, sure, sign it. So she got something, kind of tried to sign it the same way. Well, we caught it and we sent it back and said, this is not the right signature. We can't count the ballot. We won't count it if it doesn't match. So I also tell people, so one day I'm voting and I'm in a big hurry. So I put my ballot on my knee, I sign my name, I send it in. They challenged my ballot. They're not looking at your name. They're looking to see if it is comparable. So luckily, if it's challenged, it goes up to the higher staff and then to a manager, and the manager's like, is this you? Yes. But so they challenge anybody. They don't care who you are. So it has to compare. So that's our line of defense. And a lot of people think you can write like someone. We were trained by an ex-FBI agent, so we're looking for all kinds of different. More.
So you still allow poll auditors in, does Stanislaus County get a lot of them? And then do they still allow them to challenge signatures?
So we have observers that come to our office, they go to our vote centers. Observers are there to observe the process. They sometimes will, when we're historically, what they would do is come in and watch when we did provisionals. Because provisionals have to be researched to make sure that person will vote. And they were watching for that. And they would say, hey, I don't think that's being done right. Can you double check that signature? We could stop and double check it. And then it was up to the recorder if it went through. So we still have that. But with our new system, by looking you up when you're at a vote center, we know if you already voted, so we don't have to use a provisional. We used to have 18,000 provisionals in an election. Now we have 100, maybe. So by looking you up at the vote center, it's really good, so that process has changed a lot. So, get a lot of people watching signature verification.
What do you? What are you screaming that?
It's because when you went to a polling location, they didn't know what happened to your vote by mail ballot. They had a piece of paper with your name on it and you signed it. Now you go to a vote center, you fill out so they know who you are, you fill out your name, date of birth, and they look you up. Well, our system tells them if you received a ballot.
Will it be like forgotten to vote or something?
Well, no, they lost their vote by mail ballot. So here they are, they don't have it to turn in. And so we don't know what you did. If you already voted, people forget. It happens, especially older people will come in and say, I didn't vote, and we have it. And so they forgot. Because we mail ballots February 5th, the election's not till March. So it's a long time. People forget that they sent it. And so now with being able to look and see, we know if you voted or not. So those provisionals, most of our provisionals are in Patterson. People going down I-5 think, well, I want to vote, so they just pull off and go wherever they are. You have to vote your county. So those go to a provisional. We had somebody at some fair in Newman vote, and they didn't live here either. So most of those, or if it says you already voted and you are like, I did not, and you insist you did, they'll.
Then you know,
No, the one you just, always first one gets counted.
Is there a sample ballot going out for the February 5th?
Yes, those will know.
we have like the rule, like vote by, where you can download it online and vote. When does that access become available? And if somebody logs into that system, does it prevent them from then going and voting on their vote by mail ballot?
So the remote accessible vote by mail is available at the same time ballot is, so. If you vote on the remote accessible and you send it in, and then you send in your vote by mail, whichever one we get first is what counts, your signature matches. So, and then the other one will be challenged and decided. Now, if it appears to us that you physically voted twice, we will turn that.
Yeah, gotcha. And then if you go into that voter system base to pull up your ballot, and you hadn't received necessarily your mail ballot, could you then just look at your ballot and then exit out? Nothing that happens, right?
So, if you don't want to vote, but your voter information card obviously on the ballot too.
Went to the admin. You register to vote for certain parties. Why is that?
Should tell you all, that's not me. It's the parties. So if you are in no party preference, so you haven't picked a party, in a presidential, you have to vote a party ballot to vote for president. If you don't want to vote for president, it doesn't matter. But those parties, Green, Peace and Freedom, and Republican have decided that they won't allow you to cross over. Just come in and say, hey, I want that ballot. You have to re-register to vote.
We are Republican and registered Republican, don't have, only the non.
It's only non-partisan party.
Oh.
Anything else? Any roundtable discussion items before we close out? A little bit of time. Hearing and seeing none, our next presenter again is going to be our city manager, Joe Lopez, Friday, February 16th. And he's going to be discussing Measure H, which is the 1 cent sales tax. He'll be updating us on the spending. If there's nothing else anybody would like to add, we'll go and adjourn the meeting at 12:41. Thank you so much again for your time. Really appreciate it. Your hard work does not go unnoticed during election season or any other time. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Take some pizza. Have a safe weekend. Pack your umbrellas if you go outside. Maybe not.